everyone. Before we start, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with where you're from and what time you're watching. That way YouTube will keep showing you stories just like this one. Now let's begin.
I've spent enough time in the Blue Ridge Mountains to trust myself out there. Early 30s, plenty of solo trips, nothing reckless. I plan my routes, log my mileage, check weather twice. This was supposed to be day 2 of a 3-day trek. Easy miles, fog lifting by noon, camp by dusk. That's what I thought. The fog rolled in heavier than expected, thick enough that the trees looked cut out of paper. I took a turn that felt right, followed it for maybe 10 minutes, then realized the dirt under my boots wasn't the one I'd memorized. The dirt was darker, more compacted, like it had been walked a lot. Then I saw the first cairn. Perfectly stacked stones, knee-high, right off the path. Clean, stable. Not the sloppy piles hikers throw together for photos. This was deliberate, professional looking. And then another one, and another, about every 50 feet, like breadcrumbs. My first reaction wasn't fear, it was relief. I figured it was an older trail, maybe something locals used. Maybe my map just didn't have it. That happens more than people think. I remember actually laughing to myself and saying, "All right, mystery trail," like this was going to be a story I'd tell later. The fog thinned as I went deeper, but the light didn't get better, it got worse. The trees grew closer together, taller, their branches knitted overhead until the sky disappeared completely. And the cairns, they changed. They got bigger. Not just taller, more complex. Some of them were chest high, 4, maybe 5 feet. Stones balanced in ways that made no sense, like one wrong breath should have knocked them over. But they stood solid, maintained, recent. That's when I felt that first flicker of unease. Not panic, just that quiet internal nudge that says, "Pay attention." Then I saw the sign. Nailed to a tree, old wood, sun-bleached but clear as day. Private property, no trespassing. Turn back now. I stood there longer than I should have. I told myself private property signs pop up near the edges of national forests all the time. Sometimes they're outdated, sometimes people exaggerate. And the trail kept going, the cairns kept pointing forward. Curiosity won. 5 minutes later, I wished I'd listened. The forest went dead. No birds, no bugs, no wind in the leaves. It felt like someone had muted the world. My own footsteps sounded too loud, like I was doing something wrong just by existing there. The second sign was worse. Last warning. Something about that phrasing crawled under my skin. Not no trespassing, not legal language, just final. I should have turned around then. I know that now. But I kept thinking, if someone wanted me gone, why leave a trail at all? That's when I saw the deer. It was hanging from a tree, suspended by the back legs, chest split open. Not messy, careful. The organs were arranged on the ground in a near-perfect circle around the trunk, like they'd been placed, not dropped. The head was gone. Right where it should have been was a cairn. That's when the meaning clicked. These weren't guides. They were markers, borders. My hands started shaking so badly I had to sit down. I remember thinking, you don't stumble into something like this by accident. Someone had done this on purpose, recently. I turned around. The trail looked different going back, narrower, longer, like it was stretching. And that's when I noticed movement off to my right. At first I thought it was my shadow. Then I realized it was keeping pace with me. Someone was walking through the trees beside the trail, just far enough back that I couldn't see them clearly. Every time I slowed down, they slowed down. When I stopped, they stopped. I shouted, asked if they needed help. My voice sounded thin, wrong, like the forest was swallowing it. No answer. I told myself maybe it was another hiker, maybe someone as lost as I was. That thought lasted exactly 3 seconds. I fired a warning shot into the air. The sound cracked through the silence like breaking glass. The figure didn't react. That's when fear finally took control. Not loud fear, focused fear, the kind that strips everything down to simple decisions. I turned, aimed into the trees, not at a shape, not at a face, just where I knew they were standing, and fired 3 times. Silence. Then movement, fast, retreating. I didn't stop moving after that. I didn't rest. I didn't look back again. I made it back to my original trail just as the fog lifted. Later, when I reported what I'd seen, a ranger asked me one question that stuck with me. He said, "Did the cairns point both ways?" They didn't. They only faced inward. I don't hike unmarked trails anymore, and if I ever see stones stacked too perfectly in the woods again, I won't wonder who built them. I'll assume they're not meant for me. I hike this trail a lot. Like, a lot. It's in the Smoky Mountains. Nothing extreme, nothing off-grid, just a familiar loop I've done enough times that I don't even look at the map anymore. Same parking pull-off, same switchbacks, same stretch where the trees grow close enough that the sun barely gets through. I bring my dog every time. Bear's a German Shepherd, big, calm, stupidly well-trained. He doesn't run off, he doesn't chase things. If he stops, it's usually because I stopped and didn't notice. So when he freezes mid-step, I know something's wrong immediately. He's about 10 feet ahead of me when it happens, just locks up. His ears flatten back against his head, and his body goes rigid like he's listening to something I can't hear. He's staring off the trail into this thick wall of brush and trees. I follow his line of sight. I don't see anything. No movement, no sound, nothing. I say his name once, kind of distracted, already reaching for the leash clipped to my backpack. That's when he takes off. No warning, no bark, no glance back at me. He just bolts straight into the woods. At first, I'm confused more than scared. I stand there waiting to hear him crash through branches or bark or do something. But the woods stay quiet, like unnaturally quiet. The kind of quiet where you realize how loud your own breathing is. I start calling him, calm at first, then louder. Minutes go by, then more. I step off the trail to look, but it doesn't take long to realize how pointless that is. Everything looks the same once you're 10 feet in. I don't want to get turned around, so I keep circling back to the trail, calling his name over and over. That's when I hear someone say my name. It comes from deep in the trees, downhill from the trail. Not loud, not shouted, just casual, like someone standing a few feet away who doesn't need to raise their voice. It's a man's voice, and my first thought, before fear, before logic, is relief. Because it sounds exactly like my brother. Same pitch, same lazy rhythm, same slight pause before the second syllable of my name, like he's smiling while he says it. Then he uses my nickname, the one he's called me since we were kids, the one nobody else ever uses because it sounds stupid coming from anyone else. My chest tightens in this weird way, like my body already decided it was safe before my brain caught up. For half a second, I actually think maybe he surprised me. Maybe he drove out here. Maybe this whole thing is some dumb coincidence. Then reality hits all at once. My brother is 3 states away. He has never been on this trail. And even if he was, there's no way he could be standing that deep in the woods without me hearing him walk there. My mouth still answers anyway. Yeah? The second the word leaves my lips, I want to take it back. I feel stupid immediately, exposed, like I just raised my hand in a dark room. I wait for a response. Nothing comes. No footsteps, no movement, no voice calling back, just the same quiet pressing in on me, heavy enough that my ears start ringing. I stand there replaying the sound in my head, trying to find something wrong with it, some flaw, some reason I imagined it. But the more I think about it, the worse it gets, because it wasn't distorted, it wasn't echoey, it didn't sound far away. It sounded close. That's when the panic really sets in. Not the screaming kind, the quiet kind that makes your hands shake while your brain keeps telling you to act normal. I start calling Bear again, louder now, my voice cracking in a way I don't like. I keep glancing into the trees, half expecting to see someone step out and laugh like this is all some misunderstanding. No one does. By the time Bear finally appears, my nerves are shot. I'm already bracing myself to see him limping or hurt or not at all. When he steps onto the trail from the opposite direction, it takes me a second to even recognize him. My stomach drops. He looks filthy, not just muddy, worked over, like he's been dragged. Pine needles are tangled in his fur, and there's something dark smeared along his side that I don't want to think too hard about. The smell hits me and I almost gag. It's wrong, old, like decay mixed with wet metal. I feel this surge of relief and fear collide in my chest as he presses into my leg hard, almost desperate. He's shaking, actually shaking. I kneel down and start checking him, my hands moving automatically while my head screaming questions I don't want answers to. "Where did you go?" I whisper like he can explain. He won't look at the trees. Every time I turn my head that way, his body stiffens like he's warning me without making a sound. On the hike back, my thoughts spiral. I keep replaying the sound, the exact way it said my name. I tell myself maybe someone overheard me talking earlier. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe fear filled in the gaps. But Bear doesn't relax, not once. At home, I expect him to settle down. He always does. Instead, he paces like he's trapped in a room that's slowly shrinking, tight circles over and over. Then he starts spinning, sharp, deliberate turns, like he's tracking something I can't see. Watching it makes my skin crawl. I try to joke it off, tell myself dogs do weird things sometimes, but the truth is, I don't feel alone in the house anymore. That night, I wake up with that unmistakable feeling, like someone's watching me. My eyes open, and Bear is sitting at the foot of my bed. Not lying down, not shifting, just sitting there, staring straight at my face. His eyes are wide, glassy, unblinking. For a moment, I can't move. I don't know why, but I'm terrified that if I speak, I'll hear my brother's voice answer instead of mine. I finally whisper Bear's name. Nothing. Not even a twitch. I lie back and pretend to sleep, every instinct screaming that something is wrong, that something followed us home, that whatever it ran into in those woods didn't stop at the tree line. The next morning, I find mud on the inside of the back door, pine needles in the hallway, and on my phone there's a voice memo I don't remember recording. I don't play it right away. Part of me already knows I won't like what I hear. When I finally do, it's mostly static and breathing. Then my own voice quietly says my name, slow, careful, like I'm practicing how to sound like myself. At the very end, there's another sound underneath it. Not a word, just something trying to be one. Bear won't go near the woods anymore. And sometimes, late at night, when everything's quiet, I hear my brother's voice outside, still getting the nickname wrong, still practicing. I don't live in the United States. I didn't grow up anywhere near the Appalachian Mountains. And that's probably why I took them so seriously. For months before I ever booked the flight, I read everything I could find: blogs, old forum posts, comment sections under grainy YouTube videos that barely cracked 10,000 views, the kind of places where people didn't write like they were trying to scare you, just like they were warning you, quietly, and hoping you'd listen. There were rules, not trail rules, not park rules, the other kind. The ones people only mention once, the ones nobody ever explains fully. Things like, never hike at night, even if you know the trail. Never respond if you hear your name. Never look into the trees. Look at them. If the forest goes quiet, stop moving. If something sounds close, it isn't. If it sounds far away, it's already near. And the one that showed up over and over again, worded differently every time: never follow music. Most people would laugh that off. I didn't. I treated those rules like laws. I memorized them. I screenshotted posts before they disappeared. I noticed how often someone would start explaining something and then just stop replying forever. By the time I landed in the States and drove toward the mountains, I felt prepared, maybe too prepared, like I already knew the place without ever setting foot in it. That was my first mistake. The forest didn't feel hostile when I arrived. It felt old, settled, like it had already decided I didn't matter. I camped where I was supposed to, stayed on marked trails. I never pushed my luck. When the sun started dropping, I turned back, even if I wanted to keep going. I followed every rule like my life depended on it. And for a while, nothing happened. On the third day, I went off trail, but not far, just enough to explore an area I'd seen mentioned online, a place people described vaguely, always vaguely, never with photos. That's where I saw the church. It didn't make sense. It wasn't picturesque or creepy in a movie way. It was just wrong. The structure was half collapsed, wood slumped inward like it had finally gotten tired of standing. The roof had caved in on one side. The fence leaned at an angle that suggested it had been pushed, not weathered. No road, no clearing, no sign it had ever been used. The gate was broken open. I stopped before stepping through it. One of the rules floated up in my head immediately. Churches don't belong that deep in the forest. I told myself I'd already come this far, that I'd just look, not touch anything, not go inside. The moment I crossed the gate, music started playing. Not soft, not distant, loud, too loud. Drums pounding without rhythm, instruments clashing over each other like they weren't meant to be played together. It sounded crowded, full, alive. And it was coming from inside that collapsed building. I didn't think, I didn't question it. Every rule I'd read screamed at the same time: don't follow it. I turned around and walked away, fast but controlled. I didn't run, I didn't look back, I didn't try to understand what I was hearing. I just left. That should have been the end of it. The hike back felt longer than it should have, not in distance, just in feeling. The trees looked the same, but they didn't feel familiar anymore. Trees I didn't remember noticing stood closer together. The air felt heavier, like it wasn't moving properly. At one point, I thought I saw something between the trunks, just a shape, tall, still. I kept my eyes forward. That was another rule. When I reached my camp, the relief didn't come. I packed up early the next morning and left the mountains entirely, cut the trip short, told myself it was just nerves, just imagination mixed with too much internet horror. I flew home 2 days later. For a while, things were normal. Then, small things started happening. I'd hear movement behind me in my apartment and turn around to nothing. I'd wake up in the middle of the night with the feeling that someone was standing just outside my bedroom door, not breathing, not moving, just there. Sometimes I'd catch myself humming, not a song I knew, just sounds. I stopped doing that when I realized it matched the rhythm of the drums I heard in the woods. I moved apartments, then again, 5 different places in 2 months. Each one followed the same pattern. At first, nothing. Then the sounds would start, always faint, always incomplete, like whatever it was couldn't quite finish what it started. Once I heard my name, not shouted, not whispered, spoken, normally, calmly, from the other side of my wall. I never answered. I don't read about the Appalachian Mountains anymore. I don't watch videos. I don't open comment sections. I scroll past anything that even hints at it. Because I finally understood something nobody ever said outright. The rules aren't there to protect you. They're there to keep you unnoticed. And once something notices you, it doesn't matter how far away you go.